Chapter 1, The Man of God. To the Congregation of Grace Temple Ministries, Pastor Elijah Mwansa was the very embodiment of holiness, charming, charismatic, powerful in prayer, and impossibly handsome. His Sunday sermons could bring hardened criminals to their knees, and his eyes? Piercing. Like he could see through sin itself. He was the city's golden man of God, respected by politicians, adored by women, and idolized by believers. Yet there was one thing about him that drove everyone insane with curiosity. He was unmarried. At 36, with a face sculpted like a model and a voice that melted hearts from the pulpit, Pastor Elijah was the most eligible bachelor in Lusaka. Women dressed up for church like it was a beauty pageant. And rumors? Plenty. But none of them were true. Until I came back. Chapter 2, Return of the Ghost. My name is Tasha Banda, and 5 years ago, I walked away from a life of chaos, pain, and secrets. I moved to Johannesburg to rebuild after the shame nearly buried me. But my mother's illness brought me home, and so did fate. What people didn't know, what they would never imagine, was that I was once Mrs. Elijah Mwansa. Yes, his wife. We married in secret when Elijah was just starting out in ministry. Young, fiery, and full of passion, he told me he wanted to build the church first, then reveal our marriage. I was naive, blinded by love, and when he began getting attention, donors, fame, bigger crowds, he changed. One day he told me to disappear for a while. I did, foolishly, willingly, waiting for him to come back. He never did. Chapter 3, The Reunion. Walking into Grace Temple again felt surreal. The place had expanded. There were cameras, LED screens, a coffee bar, and there he was, preaching like he never broke me. He didn't notice me at first, but when he did, his voice faltered. For a second, I saw the panic in his eyes, quickly masked with a pastor's practiced smile. I sat in the second row, and when he called for first-time visitors to stand, I did. Name? An usher asked politely. Tasha Mwansa, I said, locking eyes with him. He stuttered through his closing prayer. Chapter 4, The Secret Burns. 3 days later, he showed up at my mother's house. His car was still sleek and black, like the shadow he cast over my life. Tasha, he said in a hushed voice, we need to talk. I followed him into his car. The tension was thick, charged with history and heat. You shouldn't have come back, he whispered. You shouldn't have abandoned your wife, I snapped. He closed his eyes. I was trying to protect you. The church, they wouldn't understand. So you let them worship your lie? I said bitterly. He reached out, brushing my cheek. The touch sent a current through my skin, but I slapped his hand away. Elijah, I said slowly, either you tell the truth or I will. Chapter 5, Two Wives, One Altar. I didn't know the situation had worsened until I saw her. Samantha, his fiancée. Young, beautiful. She was on every flyer calling herself First Lady in the making. Elijah had gotten engaged. But here's the twist. He and I were never divorced. The marriage certificate still existed. I kept it in a folder wrapped in shame and heartbreak. Samantha greeted me one day at church with a bright smile. Are you new here? I'm marrying Pastor Elijah soon. Oh, I know, I said with a slow smile. Congratulations, but I think there's something you should know. Chapter 6, The Truth Unleashed. That Sunday, the church was packed. People came for the sermon, but they stayed for the scandal. I walked onto the stage mid-service, calm, confident. I carried the marriage certificate like a bomb. Forgive me, church, I began, but I can't let you be deceived any longer. Before this man ever became your shepherd, he became my husband. Gasps. Cries. Samantha fainted. Elders ran to the stage. Elijah stood frozen. I handed the certificate to the head elder. We were never divorced. And if you want the truth, ask your pastor why he buried his own covenant beneath this pulpit. Chapter 7, The Fallout. The next weeks were a storm of interviews, articles, threats, and whispered prayers. Elijah was suspended. Samantha disappeared. The church split. And me, I was finally seen. He came to my door once again, this time not as a preacher, but a man, broken, exposed. I still love you, Tasha, he said. Maybe I never stopped. I stood tall. You love the idea of me, not the cost of keeping me. He dropped to his knees. Let me make it right. I looked at the man I once loved and the scandal that changed us both. Then I smiled bitterly. Some sins, I said, you don't pray away. You confess and you pay.